Hey there, YouTubers. Welcome to Leah's Lively Kitchen. I am Leah. This is my Lively Kitchen. And today, on Bake Any Day, I said it's a lively kitchen, right? We're gonna be baking my oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. This is my favorite go-to recipe, mainly because my husband loves it. Other reason, it's got chocolate in it. So I can't wait to get started baking with you. Bake any day, Leah's Lively Kitchen. Let's get started. So first things first, always gather all your ingredients right in front of you. Have them handy so you're not going and searching for them in the middle of you trying to get your baking done. Just a little bit of new mom advice. You never know when you're going to get interrupted, and you want to be able to return and have everything right there for you. So right now we're going to get going on the dry ingredients. I have my oatmeal in the bowl, then I'm going to get my flour out. I just use regular AP flour. I don't see anything wrong with it. Whole wheat flour would work really well with this, almond flour, coconut flour, whatever kind of flour you have on hand at the moment. I had AP, so that's what I used. Alright, we're going to be adding some baking powder to the mix to help with leavening. Same with the baking soda. You'll see me put it in just a moment. I like to use the mix of the two. Sometimes I'll just put soda in, sometimes just powder. Just kind of depends. I like to be very relaxed with my baking. My baking is my happy place. It helps me de-stress. So I try not to stress too much about the recipe. Of course, we have to put some kosher salt in there. I hope you can see my freeze screen right there. I use kosher salt. Some people use table salt. All I say is don't use sea salt in your baking. That's more of a finishing salt. This is my little technical piece of advice to you all. Also might save you a little bit of money in the long run. I know that sea salt is very expensive compared to $1 kosher salt. So get your dry ingredients mixed all together while we prepare for our wet ingredients. Measurements do matter. I don't want you to think I'm so relaxed that I don't use actual measurements, so you can find the recipe with the actual measurements that I'm using on my Instagram, and I will link that below in the video details. So we've got our melted coconut oil right there. I'm going to be adding in some coconut palm sugar. Again, any light brown sugar will work just fine here. I just like to use the coconut sugar. I like the flavor, I like the healthfulness of it, and that brand is just the supermarket brand. You know, all the supermarkets these days have their own line of healthy foods and their own store brands. This is just the store brand, so nothing special here. Whatever you have on hand for light brown sugar, and there you go, organic coconut palm sugar. Go ahead and add in your granulated white sugar. I'm using Florida Crystal's pure cane sugar. It's just what I had on hand. Whatever white granulated sugar you have should work just fine. And then we're going to beat together the oil and the sugars. Then I'll be adding an egg, beat that in along with the vanilla extract, and that'll round out our wet ingredients. Alright, so if you'd like to bake with me up until this point, definitely go grab that recipe from my Instagram page, _soundbites, and I'll meet back up with you when we are ready to mix the wet ingredients with the dry. So here we go. I'm ready to mix my wet ingredients into my dry mix. You can use a scraper to get all the last bit of your wet mix out of whatever container you're using. I found that when I am baking in small batches, this nice little Pyrex dish works really well. Has a little pour spout. I also have a larger one that I'll use if I'm making bigger batches, but this one was a small batch. And again, you can find the recipe for the full 20 cookie recipe on my Instagram. That's linked below. Just fold that in until it is pretty well combined, and then the best part of this recipe, we have some very healthful add-ins and mix-ins that no one will notice when they're eating that delicious chocolate chip cookie that you made, but you will know in the background that you're doing something healthy for your life. New moms, some of the ingredients you can mix in can also support your milk supply, so keep that in mind. I am adding chia seeds. I'm also going to be adding hemp seeds to my mix. I didn't have any nuts handy, so no almonds, no pecans or anything in this one, but feel free to go ahead, add in whatever you'd like or have on hand. Flaxseed would be a really good suggestion, especially if you're trying to build that milk supply or boost it. You'll see that a lot when you do your searches on the internet. And of course, a little chocolate helps. So there goes my chocolate chips. And I also had some coconut on hand. My husband loves coconut. He likes the texture of it. I think it adds a nice little taste to it that's not of the norm. So I go ahead and add that in. Mix it on up, and this dough is going to be a little tough. We had a lot of mix-ins. The oats, they just are inherently like that. I suppose you could have used oat flour in this. That would have been a really good alternative to regular AP flour. I was actually running out of oatmeal. I used up the last in this mix to make my chocolate chip cookies tonight. So we're just going to get this nice and combined until it's just mixed. And then you can let it rest for just a few minutes while you take another break to clean up as you go and get ready to put those cookies on a pan and in the oven. And I'll just mention while I'm cleaning up, I know some of you are all like, I don't have time for baking. This is way too much effort, all the setup and the cleanup. But one thing that I do find that saves me a lot of time when baking, because it's something that my family loves. They love all the sweet treats that I'm able to make. I love them too. My friends, coworkers, they all appreciate it. Cleaning up as I go, it really does save me a ton of time in the long run. I am not someone who wants to finish a project and then go, okay, yay, now I get to clean up. That just doesn't happen, and I don't think a lot of other people have that happen either, get that like, hey, let's clean feeling. So I try to do it in between, if I have some downtime like now, the dough just needs to settle a little bit, so I'll clean up and then I won't have to worry about it later. So let's get ready here to get our cookies on a pan. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're ready to go. So I've got my sheet pan here, any old baking tray will work, and then I also have my Mrs. Anderson's baking sheets. I'm using this for the first time here. I'm demoing this product. I received it as a free gift from an online Amazon purchase I made previously of, I think it was some kitchen shears actually. The company offered kind of a rebate deal where you get these baking sheets, one's for roasting, one's for baking. With these baking sheets, you don't really have to prepare anything with baking spray. You just go right on top of the baking sheet, and you can scoop out your dough for the chocolate chip oatmeal cookies in about tablespoon size. You can go smaller if you want more cookies. I am making a small batch here with a little bit larger of a cookie. They come out around 2 inches in diameter. Like I said earlier, I was just making like a half batch so we could have for after dinner on a Tuesday. So you get those cookies on a pan, spread them out. I usually do about 2 inches in between so they don't stick to each other. You do what you like, bigger or smaller, and we'll get them into the oven at 350 degrees for about 14 minutes. I think I did mine for 15. I like them a little extra toasty. And here they are, my chocolate chip oatmeal cookies, perfect to bake any day. Find the recipe on Instagram at _soundbites. And be sure to comment below. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next video.